Spider-Man 2 was the most anticipated game of my entire life because the first game was one of the best Spider-Man games out there, and I was very excited when they announced that the Venom will be the main villain of the sequel. The character of Venom definitely has a reputation of not getting it right on a visual media. Very few visual media has got the characters right and adapted faithfully. Like, there's so many ways you can F it up where when you adapt Venom by rushing it like Spider-Man 3 did. But the game didn't give me what I wanted to see on this story from a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. I will spell it out point by point. In terms of story, the story is originally supposed to focus on the dark side of all the main characters. So, what do we have in this game? I feel like that section was touched so briefly and very surface level. Very little of the dark side has come out in this game. It's like the plot isn't about it at all. Yes, in this game we see Miles, who wants to take revenge on Martin Lee. Mary Jane in the form of Scream, who poured out all the truth to Peter during their fight scenes. And of course, Peter under the influence of symbiote. Like, the character do express anger, but it doesn't lead to anything. Like, they don't touch on the deeper aspect of some of the darker aspects of some of these characters. So the interpretation is very much surface level. Miles didn't do anything terrible to Martin Lee. The game just added a scene where Miles held him on a web instead of helping to save the people. And that's basically it. Yeah, at the end of the game they just made up and Martin Lee ultimately got on its good side. But again, the interpretation is very surface level. It is funny about MJ though. Towards the end of the game, she gets taken over by a symbiote, and during the whole boss fight with her, she tells her how bad Peter Parker is, how selfish that is. But it's very shallow surface level because it's just exposition dump. They took her and revealed all her problems in a boss fight that lasted just about 15 to 20 minutes. No cutscenes, no gradual development of the conflict throughout the entire game. Just right off the bat. And after it come on its own, everything just fall into place when Peter just defeat the Scream and all of it is fine. Everything is over. Why? I really don't know. Again, it's all very surface level deep. I would like to get it in a more explained way, in a more in-depth manner. Peter is probably the best of the bunch, but that doesn't mean he has a good character development throughout the game. Peter gets the suit and he slowly starts to change, becoming a more aggressive and tougher. But the whole problem with this arc is that it's very short, and again, it just leads to nowhere. Peter just didn't lose anything from this game, except for maybe Harry, who was apparently had already injected with G serum beforehand. Otherwise, I can't explain how he suddenly turned into an asshole without even touching the symbiote. So in the entire game, we saw Peter interact with Harry and MJ once or twice while under the influence of the symbiote in the cutscene. He just freaked out a little bit, and that's it. Then finally, when the arc shows how Peter was already becoming a threat to the town and the loved ones, it just ends. Miles saves him, but that's it. It's just about to get good, and you just cutting it short. Seriously, Insomniac? Peter also didn't kill any of its villains, didn't physically harm anyone around him. I seriously thought we would have a lot of scenes in the game where Peter and MJ would have a serious conflict, and it would even get to the point of domestic violence on Peter's part. And though there would be a conflict, for example, Peter under the influence would advise Miles to avenge his father's death, end things with Lee once and for all, and not just babysit him. I thought there would still be scenes at school where Peter would yell at students, in general would behave inappropriately to normal creatures. The game didn't utilize the full potential of the symbiote in my opinion. We were shown how bad the costume is only by Peter acting like a girl, like I'm the hero here, not you. Like, the line is so corny in my opinion. And he almost ended up killing Kraven, but that's it. I actually kinda liked Kraven. I liked his background, that he has a terminal illness, probably cancer, and don't want to die on a whim in a bed. He wants to fall the death of the brave, die in a battle, and go to Valhalla like a Norse person, Norse-like philosophy. If you will, Kraven is actually very tough. He is not one of those villains who can only scratch his tongue. He killed scorpions, vulture, and basically killed even the original Spider-Man. But Spider-Man ultimately was saved by symbiote. And after the battle scenes with Venom, that boss fight was awesome. By the way, Kraven found to have a truly terrifying opponent worthy of his death. And at the end of the battle, Kraven loses by saying thank you, as he finally dies at the death of the brave he had always dreamed of. That scene really gets goosebumps in my opinion. It's a shame that such a character appears in the cutscene for about 30 minutes, and then all of the attention turns into Venom, who we also saw very little. Even though Kraven is very good, I still feel like his character was not adapted very well, and he is not written very well as much as I like to hope he would be. Like, he is a hunter, but his goons does all the dirty work. He doesn't hunt anyone. He just kills after his goons does all the hard work of like hunting down the monsters, those villains. Venom just want to kill Spider-Man. But in the game, Venom just wanted to take over the world. He didn't want to kill Spidey at all. He literally said he wants Spidey to join them. The whole insemination of the planet thing doesn't go with the plot at all. Namely, the dark side of the main characters. I thought Venom was going to be Peter Parker and Peter Parker's personal enemy. I believed to the end that Venom would be someone other than Harry, like Eddie Brock. MJ just starting working at Daily Beagle. Insomniac had everything to introduce Eddie into the plot anyway. I think the third act of the game is completely schizophrenic. Like, what was it for? I don't understand. What was the moral? I really don't get it. I don't want Eddie Brock to be the main villain in every Venom interpretation. But I really also don't think that Harry as a Venom doesn't work at all. And if this is how they're going to adapt Venom's story, then I would much rather have Eddie as a Venom interpretation. And yes, one more thing that amuses me so very much. Miles' character in the game. Peter is about to be permanently consumed by the Venom. But no, Miles comes to the rescue. Is Harry about to die after losing in the final third of the game? Don't worry, we have Miles. He manages to defeat the more experienced Peter Parker, who is also under the symbiote. Like, it sounds crazy how overpowered Miles is. Miles is like a magic fairy who will arrive at the very last moment and pull everyone out of their asses. He also takes over the entire town at the end of the game. Like, even Peter talks about how Miles is a better Spider-Man than him. Like, how much are you going to be complimenting this character? And the character doesn't even have a good development throughout the entire game. Even more recently, there is a news story that announced that Miles will be the main Spider-Man of their universe, which I really don't want. This is one of the most boring interpretation of Miles Morales. The Into the Spider-Verse Miles Morales is far better written than this version of the character. Let's talk about the gameplay for a second. The combat system is much cooler than the first game. I would admit that. I like the new Super Strike system. It is very important that the combat is good and not boring, because in this game you have to fight very much. Like 90% of the game is about punching people and swinging. So the combat has to be very good. The combat just doesn't have the time to get boring because of the two playable characters, and the Venom abilities that appears in the middle of the game do really freshen up the gameplay. Even though I do think that the two main characters, Insomniac should have done a better job differentiating the two characters' gameplay. Like, they both more or less feel similar to each other. Unfortunately, in terms of side activities, the collectibles have become more boring than the first game. In the first game, the lore of the game was revealed to us due to backpacks. The additional story with Cletus Cassidy is interesting, but its ending is very strange and incomprehensible. When Cletus picked up the vial with the symbiote, it suddenly turns red. It looks funny. It will be interesting to see the continuation of that storyline in the third game. But I hope they do give a good explanation as to why the symbiote turns red in that section. I do know that Carnage is red in color, but I don't understand why the symbiote turns red in this situation, in this storyline. The app system in this game is really cool, and you can get distracted from the storyline and get down to earth and become friendly neighborhood Spider-Man in that section. Let's talk about the soundtrack, which is very good. much better than the first installment in my opinion. The title theme of the game, although I do not like the title theme of the game very much compared to the first game, it is still very good. I really like the Kraven's theme, the Harry's theme, and especially the Venom's theme. Those are all pure brilliance. I really like the sound of the composer they chose for the symbiote's theme. It's like something wild, something alien sounds like, which is in the fight because Venom, the symbiote, is a part alien. John Paisano has written another banger of a soundtrack in my opinion. My favorite track is, if anyone interested, is Greater Together, East River Mayhem, Venom's relationship, battling your inner demons, a familiar bond, fighting back, and mind games. These are all very good soundtracks. So overall, at its core, I feel the combat is really good. The traversal is really good. But the story, however, is absolutely disjointed and a cramped mess that suffer from the same issue as the Spider-Man 3 from Tobey Maguire's and Amazing Spider-Man 2 from the Andrew Garfield's interpretation. The flow is so bad for me personally that it makes Spider-Man 3 looks like a masterpiece. A lot of the character and progression in this game is straight up weird and disjointed. It wasn't like a gradual ramp up, especially in the symbiote section in the middle section of the game, where Peter's anger has read like suddenly in an all-time high without any real gradual build-up to it. It's kind of crazy that he just put on the suit and becomes just angry without any conflict. Then cutscene come and his anger is gone. Then one or two mission and he just loses it, and there is any barely reason for why he's getting anger. I know that symbiote is making him angry, but I don't understand the in-game universe reasons why he is getting angrier at anyone. I get that the reveal is that it was about May, but the way it was handled in the third act by getting into his mind section is felt awkward and surface level. Harry and Peter's relationship also felt great at the beginning, but when it was supposed to crumble, it also progressed in a very rushed and janky way. I feel like this game had a potential to be fucking insane if it was a bit longer and more fleshed out. Like this game is like 20 to 30 hours. I feel like this game would have been much better story wise if it was 40 hours or another 10 hours of extra gameplay without those MJ sections. Like those, I don't understand why those sections exist. Instead of taking time to flesh out Venom, the director purposely chose to leave out the Venom stuff and forcefully included those MJ missions, which I feel like it's a bit of a pettiness. It's childish. Amidst this janky ass situation, Miles also has its own storyline going on side by side, which supposed to make it feel fresh, but the Miles side of the storyline is so damn boring that I feel like it makes the overall pacing of the main storyline worse. Like there is so much to say, but I just feel like it's a lost cause. So many different levels would just be applied on me, but I feel like if I had to release this thought somewhere, the story was amazing in the first game, and the fact that it makes me angrier that this is the storyline they chose to go out with in the main title of the sequel. This is another case of a rushed Venom interpretation. Let's talk about the bugs and glitches. A lot of people on Twitter were going crazy saying that there is no bugs, blah blah blah. While on the other side of the spectrum, many people are saying that the game is broken, unplayable. Personally, I think the game is pretty buggy, but it's not unplayable, and after 1 year, most of the bugs have been patched out. There are no game-breaking bugs according to my experience, but crashes do happen in my 10 hours of playtime every now and then. Overall, I am glad that people seem to be enjoying this game so much, but I'm also confused by a lot of praise I'm seeing because it doesn't reflect my own experiences with it. My experiences have been fun, certainly, but it's also been quite buggy, short, empty and underwhelming. So it's been hard for me to see it praised so highly on the gaming landscape. But I feel like the narrative has changed over the last couple of months after the game was released, and I am starting to see more and more criticism towards the game for its shortcomings. Overall, I am interested to hear everyone else's thought on the comment section. Thanks for watching the video.